Greetings and salutations, I'm Keb. Welcome to this Let's Play of 80 Days. It is a rather nice little title, this. It is a time management / interactive novel type of game. It's based on the works of Jules Verne, most especially, of course, around the world in 80 days, but all his other novels will also make appearances, and of course, it is also set in a steampunk reality, so it'll be a bit of a different adventure this time than the books. And you play the role as Passepartout, as his faithful valet or servant, and you're tasked with getting Phileas Fogg around the planet in 80 days to win his bet, just as in the books. At any rate, if you don't like the sound of my voice, then this is probably going to be a bad Let's Play to follow, because I am going to be reading quite a lot. It is, after all, an interactive novel. Unfortunately, whenever there is text to read, as you can see with the very little opening here, the game is paused. But that will change as soon as we start. At any rate, London, 1872. I have entered into the service of a new gentleman. It would seem he is a gambling man. And yes, there is a little introductory period here. As you can see, we have the globe here. And we're gonna set our sights to travel around the planet within 80 days. And there are quite a lot of little adventures here. You basically travel from city to city, try to find links, try to fund your journey as well, because you have limited funds. And yeah, there are quite a lot of little adventures to discover here. And as I said, all the other novels of Jules Verne are represented. You have, I don't know, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Journey to the Center of the Earth, From Earth to the Moon. I believe 5 Days in a Balloon is mentioned at some point, The Mysterious Island, and here, yeah, and so on. You have to dig around a bit to find all these adventures, and there are also quite a few special encounters, and you can't really follow the book, the original Around the World in 80 Days book, completely, because the same encounters aren't actually available. Some of the characters have been rewritten, like what's the Indian beauty called again? Arya. No, I forget. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I read the books. She's in here, I believe, but she has a different name, a different appearance, rather. At any rate, let's start our adventures. And things begin rather quickly here, because as soon as you start, the clock starts running, so other than only reading stuff, we're going to be in a bit of a hurry. Begin. This is Passepartout's first day, so Monsieur Phileas Fogg returned home early from the Reform Club, and in a newfangled steam carriage besides. I helped him down, and the iron-lunged, steam-driven horses clattered away. Yeah. So there goes the steampunk stuff. Passepartout, said he, we are going around the world. And then, of course, we get a choice. And this is how it works. It is an interactive novel, so we can basically choose our own path in what we want to tell Mr. Fogg in many places. And that determines the sort of valet we are. And that is kind of important, because that also has some implications for later adventures. So if you basically behave like a buffoon, and that will be reflected in the game with your choices. So, and sometimes it doesn't really matter all that much, but we'll start with it. Around the world, monsieur? I asked, utterly astonished. We shall circumnavigate the globe within 80 days. He was quite calm as he proposed the wild scheme. We leave for Paris on the 8:25 in an hour. And then we have some choices. But I am not prepared, I said wretchedly, quickly trying to organize a list of necessary items in my mind. Then do it now. Pack an altimeter and my evening jacket. There is not a moment to waste. You, Passepartout, now have funds. So we got some cash up there, £4,000. Your character is now steadfast. And that's the sort of thing we'll get repeatedly. Our own character development, which will have some limited impact on the dialogue options and that kind of things. And I don't recall I don't know which options are best, but I'm just going to follow it. Oh, and on a few other things, we can also see the day we're currently on, the time, the day of the week, which has some limitations. I mean, Some journeys from some cities will only be valid at specific days, specific times, that sort of thing. Down here we have Phileas Fogg, who currently has 100 health, because traveling the world in bad conditions will reduce his health, and one of your tasks is to keep Fogg alive. That's usually a fairly simple task, but you can get sick, and that's going to be very bad for your schedule. At any rate, let's continue. New routes discovered. And that's pretty much just one choice. To Paris. And now we have to hurry because the clock is ticking. He said pocket altimeter, so I'm going to go with that. Oh, valuable in Paris. We're going to take that one. And that's all the bags we have. So we're not going to bring these things. And since the clock is ticking, that's going to be it. We're going to depart immediately because that is going to depart in just a few minutes. There we go. Just made it by 5 minutes to spare. And that's the sort of thing we're going to suffer a lot. So now we're on the Amphitrite Express. And as you can see, the clock is not ticking. And then it goes. And as you can see, the clock only stops when you have something to read. The mechanical horses raced past Piccadilly Circus and excuse me, and Pall Mall faster than a team of thoroughbreds. Even so, the whistle of the 825 was blowing as we pulled up to Charing Cross Station. Yeah, we raced around the concourse and threw ourselves aboard as the second whistle shrieked its warning. We barely had time to take our seats before the guard rapped smartly on the compartment door. He held out a hand. "Tickets, please." I pretended to have lost them, patting down one pocket and then the other, and was about to start digging through our suitcases when Monsieur Fogg interrupted my touching performance. "My valet is trying to express that we were in too much haste to purchase tickets," he said. And then we have some choices. No doubt intending to chasten me for my dissimulation. "Can we purchase them from me?" the guard was saying. "Though it is more expensive, I'm afraid. £85, please." And of course, here's the thing. If we argue with him, that might save us money, but that'll actually reduce Fogg's opinion of us. That's another hidden modifier. And that won't really apply until we complete the journey. Because Fogg's opinion of us depends on our actions. If we behave in any way that is unseeming to an English gentleman, his opinion goes down. So we have to watch out for that too. So if we begin haggling, Fogg is not gonna like that. I handed over the £85 and smiled a thin smile from one working man to another. The guard gave me our tickets and slid the compartment door shut behind them with a pneumatic hiss. "Your funds have gone down somewhat. Your relationship with Fogg has deteriorated, because we did fumble the first part with searching for the tickets, which is just have bought them immediately." That sort of thing. So yeah. I'm fine for, but we must make haste. Converse. We are allowed to make conversation. And right now we only have Fogg to talk to, but later we can talk to other travelers. Very good. As you can see, we're now on the Amphitrite Express, the actual train. London smog gave way to rolling hills and the pastures of the Kentish countryside, still untouched by the hand of technological advancement. Monsieur Fogg read his paper whilst I repacked our bags, thrown together in haste and confusion. As afternoon turned inexorably towards evening, I discovered that my master was one of those gentlemen who broke their silence rarely, if at all. A guard rapped on our door, and a few miles before Dover. "We are about to submerge," he warned. Take some people a bit funny, so watch out." "What do you mean, submerge?" I cried. "This is the London to Paris Amphitrite Express," he explained, as though to a particularly dim-witted child. "The submersible train. The talk of all London papers." "Then this is the Mer train," I exclaimed. He made a face. "Bloody journalists and their silly names," he muttered. "Every inch of her has been examined and stamped with the artificer's seal. This is the world's only bathyscaphe locomotive." And then you have some choices what to do. I press my face to the window glass as the fins above the Amphitrite's wheels extended with a hydraulic hiss. Night fell and we plunged past the end of the track into the freezing water of the English Channel. Relations with Fogg has improved slightly because he liked what we did there apparently. And again, you'll see a lot of these notifications. And now time is ticking again rather quickly. We're on a journey. We might get another conversation option. Or not. The Amphitrite ploughed through the water overnight and splashed up onto the wider gauge French tracks at Calais as dawn broke. Do you have a route in mind, monsieur? I asked, as the water of the channel dried from the compartment windows. I am as yet undecided, my master admitted. The new canal has sped up the shipping route from Suez to Bombay, though perhaps we could take the Trans-Siberian Railway across Russia. Surely not Siberia, I exclaimed. It is so cold and grim, and I have a particular fear of bears. Then we would do well to buy furs, he replied, refraining from rolling his eyes. There are other alternatives. We may also travel overland and across the Black and Caspian Seas. But which is the fastest? I believe, said he, that this is what we shall put to the test. Parbleu, I scarcely knew what to think. We arrived at Paris-Gare du Nord just after 1 o'clock. Automation porters lifted our luggage and then our persons onto the platform with long delicately filigreed iron arms. Paris, city of my heart. I was home, but not to stay. And of course, Passepartout is from Paris. He went into Fogg service the same day as this adventure starts. And thanks to a little conversation, we learned about a few new routes. Suez to Bombay here. And as you can see, there are quite a lot of little cities around the map. And we need to find the routes in order to actually traverse them. And of course, they all have different costs and different adventures. And I think we're going to try to keep fairly close to the original route. Okay, we're going to immediately go to the market. The wax cylinder is more valuable here. I'm going to sell the pocket altimeter as well. And we can just... Or maybe we should just follow these things. You know what? Let's do that. That's going to take us to Berlin. Let's buy that. Let's explore. It's going to take 4 hours. That's going to take most of the day. But by exploring, we find new travel routes. And now we have an item that should sell in Berlin. So we'll try to find our way up there. We had a few hours to spare. I asked Mr. Fogg if I might enjoy my city before we had to leave. Indeed, and should they learn anything of note, be sure to relay it. I nodded and headed into town. The talk on the streets was of one thing only, an enormous elegant oval stadium constructed upon the green fields of Champ de Mars and containing the technological marvels, art, amusement parks, and milling crowds of the World's Fair of 1872. And I believe that's why the date and the year has been slightly altered just to make the World's Fair. Because I believe in the books they are a few years ahead of this. 1870, I think the book was published. Could be wrong there. We have some choices. I ventured inside the ground-illuminated pavilions of the exposition. And then we have some choices where to go. An artificer was replacing an arc light, which had burned out. She first disconnected the strange machine powering the lights. It had a spinning iron wheel which was wound around with a series of armature coils. "What is that device, artificer?" I asked politely, my eyes straying to the copper lily pin which proclaimed her profession. "It's a bleeding nuisance is what it is," the artificer grumbled in a thick Yorkshire accent. Okay, fine. My goodness, Yorkshire accent. I can't even do that, I think. I'm sorry. These gram machines are finicky beasts. Gram machines? I inquired. Well, it's oh, never mind. She waved my question away. It's a steam engine, all right. only it doesn't make steam. Will that do? I hate explaining this stuff to a layman. The harshness of her tone was belied by her gentle touch as she unscrewed the Arclight's globe of enamel glass and replaced the 2 carbon rods within. She reconnected the supply, and the 10 Yablokchov candles connected in series lit up at once more. Will all streets be lit with electricity soon? I asked. There are already a fair passel of cities lit by electricity rather than gaslight, she retorted. London will probably be last, given old Queen Vicky's prejudice against the Artificers Guild. The Queen is against you? She's just cautious, that's all, the Artificer replied, pocketing her screwdriver once more. Knows real power when she sees it, though, that's what I'd say. She looked at her pocket watch, cursed and hurried off, dropping something as she went. Then they have some choices to just steal it, but I hurried after her to return it, and she thanked me. My medallion. I need that to get my lunch from the canteen, thank you. I bowed in return, and she giggled. Stop that, you'll make me blush. She rubbed the coin thoughtfully. I was given this for my work in Istanbul, you know. I made a very special automaton. Yeah, there we go, automaton. I think it works as a driver now, on the route from Izmir. I think that's right. An automation who can drive. Automaton. Automaton who can drive. Of course, is that so strange? I could only shrug. Who knows what is normal in this modern world? I looked about me once more. Avenues sprawled in every direction between the inviting illuminated pavilions of the exposition. And then we have some choices where to go. I headed towards the red and purple tents of the Artificers Guild. And yeah, the Artificers Guild are pretty big in this game, so that's why I'm following their footsteps. Draped with banners emblazoned with their copper lily sigil. A steam-powered automaton orchestra played gleaming brass instruments, while a mechanical sommelier, there's going to be a lot of words that I have no idea how to pronounce in this game, I think, popped the cork from a champagne bottle and poured out bubbling over glasses for passing tourists. One of the artificers was explaining the guild's credo to a group of sticky-fingered children. The copper lily stamp of the guilds is an assurance of safety and quality, the artificer said, before pausing to gently discourage a curious toddler's ambitions of flight. Oh my goodness. Ambitions of flight. Yeah, okay. We build and maintain everything from children's toys, she gestured to the nearby clockwork monkey, which was enthusiastically banging a pair of cymbals, to airship engines and even mechanical workers. A mechanical valet could never replace a human one, I called out, smoothing my hands over my label. The artificer gave me a tired look. It's not a matter of replacement. Human and automata have different skills. An automaton, for instance, will never tire or feel hunger or thirst. It can function happily under the hot glare of the sun and will not get fuzzy jaw or cotton lung if it works in a factory. But can it feel loyalty or satisfaction in a good day's work? I asked. The artificer released the child squirming in her hands and gave me a lopsided grin. Perhaps one day we will build our automata to feel those emotions. There are many in the guild interested in such things. She raised her voice a little to address the small crowd that had gathered to eavesdrop on our exchange. The Artificers Guild operates across borders of nations, caste and creed. In which countries? I heckled back. Someone in the audience sighed at my continued interruptions, but the artificer seemed pleased. All of them, she replied. We have outposts in Bombay, Siberia, Bucharest, in every corner of the earth. She turned back to the children. When we become artificers, we give up on our personal loyalty and swear to use our skills only for peaceful aims, the artificer continued. The cleverest engineers and inventors all working together to shape a better future for all the world. I clapped along with the rest of the crowd, carried along by her strident tones of enthusiasm. The artificer caught my sleeve as the crowd dispersed. You seem a confident sort. How's my speech? I rehearsed it all night. Was it too much? It was very stirring, I assured her, and she gave me a bright, grateful grin as I returned to the central square, stopping here and there to gaze at the wonders of the exposition. Crowds of tourists jostled and heaved past, their eyes wide with wonder. I took a stroll down the Avenue of Nations, lined with buildings in the styles of the nations of the world, and manned by foreign delegates in national dress. There's going to be a lot of things just in Paris, because that's the first one. It's going to be less story in the other towns, I think. Although the newly formed German Empire was a conspicuous absentee. And if you know world history, Germany was formed pretty much just after the Franco-German War in 1872. I believe it was there, 1871. So Germany is quite new, yeah. In the city it had so recently conquered, yeah. And there we go. The Austro-Hungarian delegation was being harangued by an artificer who looked to me like a farm boy from Provence. The artificer was pointing at one of the soldiers guarding the doorway and shouting in terrible German, "Verboten, verboten." I peered at the soldier. He was sporting rather a fine moustache and a gleaming uniform, so spotless that it looked almost polished. Merde. With a start I realized that he was no man at all, but rather an automaton, with an enamel-painted uniform and pewter face. The artificer cursed. These Austro-Hungarians have brought their automated soldiers to Paris, even though war machines are expressly forbidden by the guild. Who knows what the danger they might represent? I turned away hurriedly. My feet were tiring, and the hour was growing late. I returned to Monsieur Fogg, who was eating a meal of plain boiled beef or à l'anglaise. "Did you enjoy the exposition?" my master inquired diffidently. And I nodded. We are unspeakably lucky to live in such an age of invention, I declared. It will certainly make it easier to win my wager, Monsieur Fogg replied mildly. I dreamed that night of mechanical wonders and automatons with beautifully enameled faces, knowing little of the strange inventions and stranger peoples I would soon encounter in my journey around the world. Okay, didn't like the reply, I suppose, and we've become dependable. As I said, there are quite a lot of these story modules, and they always point forward. There are quite a few adventures out there, so we know that something is going on with robot soldiers in Austria-Hungary now. We know where the artificers are in Bombay, and it's Siberia and in Bucharest. So there are some adventures we can encounter them on, and so on. Let's see. Characters sound dependable. Yeah, that's fine. And onwards. And since we had that little conversation, we learned I want one route. The clock is ticking. Yeah, plan. So now we know of these routes further. Unfortunately, we just missed most of these. Yeah, if I'd been a lot faster, I could have gone with this one right now, because that's 6 p.m. But the clock went ahead of us. Yeah, so most of them are now in a few days. We can travel down this way to Nice. As you can see, the clock is ticking, so I'm just going to do that for a moment. No, that actually won't help. The clock will be ticking. So we can either go to Vienna, or we can travel tomorrow by car. And we did pick up an item that's going to be sold in Berlin, so I'm going to try to make my way that way. That's probably not the fastest route, but at any rate, that's going to be tomorrow before 5 p.m. And we can't really do anything with the luggage. because it's already past the time, the market is not closed, the bank is closed. We have a choice between sleeping at the at the steps of the train station and stuff, but that will definitely deteriorate Fogg's health. So instead we'll have to go into the hotel and pass the night. We took a hotel for the night. We will be comfortable here, Monsieur Fogg remarked, but traveling overnight will often be more efficient. Okay. So we must board the longest journeys available. Perhaps, he replied, the short answer indicating, I think, that one-day journeys might often be more flexible in their timing and could allow for more connections. Still, the surrounds of the Hotel Ritz were most enjoyable. Okay, I'm going to take a short pause here, I think, before we continue. If you enjoy watching this playthrough, or if you wish to support my channel, please consider using those like and subscribe buttons, and if you have any sort of feedback for me, the comment field is just down below. Beyond that, as always, thank you for watching.